Hi, I'm Kojo Nnamdi. Join me for a trip back through 50 years of a place we all love. Radio at American University didn't start with WAMU FM. There were a couple of student stations in the 50s, including one co-founded by Ed Walker. But as the 1960s approached, AU decided to use the new medium of FM radio to bring information and educational programming to the Washington region. And on October 23, 1961, they threw the switch.
Tonight, we dedicate two new radio services, WAMU FM and the Educational Radio Network.
WAMU started with profound aspirations, but practically no money. An asset they did have, though. One of the station's 3 original employees was a 24-year-old named Susan Stamberg.
There were language lessons, there were geography lessons.
French in the air.
That was educational radio. It was very serious.
But there was no news. The station couldn't afford it. And according to Liz Young, who was program director in the mid-1960s, the station struggled, both to define itself and to inform the community without a news team. They solved the problem, she says, by reaching out and inviting the community into the studio to talk. Local mayors, superintendents of schools.
That was the genesis of the talk programs that are on WAMU today.
And that outreach didn't end with talk. The station also offered music you couldn't get anywhere else.
We had a member of the community come to us and say, I don't think any station around here is putting bluegrass on the air. Well, after the phone stopped ringing, we realized we had a hit on our hands.
In 1970, a new general manager professionalized the station's sound. Ed Walker, then known as one of radio's Joy Boys, came back to WAMU, and Fred Fiske brought his civilized talk show to the station. The Fred Fiske Show, along with WAMU's morning talk show called Home with Irma Andal, cemented the station's reputation as a place for intelligent talk in Washington. In 1973, a new home show volunteer came to the station, Diane Ream. On Diane's first day, she was told that Irma was out sick. Then the station manager told Diane,
"Please come into the studio. You and I will do the interview together, and for the next 90 minutes, we interviewed a representative of the Dairy Council."
And a few years later, Diane took over the program herself. This same time, the late 70s, was when WAMU was finally able to begin providing another vital role in the community as it hired its first ever news team. Their show, Morning Line, hosted by news director Craig Oliver, was on years before Morning Edition. Over the years, WAMU has grown to cover the region's biggest stories and also the tiny morsels that illuminate our world. In 1968, when riots tore through Washington, WAMU created Voices of Poverty to shed light on the stories of the poor. In the 1970s, we created Spirits Known and Unknown, which gave voice to young African Americans with stories to tell. In the 90s, we did it again when we created Youth Voices. And of course, for the past 42 years, WAMU has been the nation's premier source for music that comes from the mountains and valleys of the eastern United States. Bluegrass, a commitment to our most dedicated listeners. We've also honored America's classical music, jazz, and since 1965, the classics of old-time radio. We've done it all thanks to you. There's nothing WAMU has relied on longer or with more appreciation than the support of you, our listeners. You've been there for us as our formats have changed and as we've stayed true to the programs and music you value most. You've been there to help us inform and enlighten our community and help us understand better ourselves and our region. And we've been there for you, bringing you not just the day's news, but putting that news in context, with civilized, intelligent discussion to bring your neighborhood and your world into perspective. A lot's changed in 50 years in Washington, but through it all, WAMU 88.5 has been one of the things you've come to count on.